to stream it. For this episode, we have episodes 4 and 5 of Russian Doll. And then we're going to talk about shows that surprised us, that we weren't expecting to love, but ended up loving and couldn't stop watching it. So we each have our own show for that. And then we're going to look ahead at the Westworld Season 3 trailer. So 4 and 5 of Russian Doll.
Oh,
It
wow.
got so good.
It was good.
Yeah. You watched it so long ago. I couldn't believe it. You were telling us.
I watched it right after the show
Yeah.
last week.
So that's what you'll do
'Cause
tonight.
I was chomping at the bit.
I put some notes in case we needed refreshers.
Yes.
of the overall.
So you were right all the way back after the first or second, I don't know, episode where.
No, when they were about to die in the elevator, that's where we left
Yeah,
off.
but.
And you said, I'm going to help you out here. You said, maybe we'll get to know Alan's story and see it from his perspective.
Not where I was going.
Oh.
No, but the friend of the clerk that was sick, that's Alan.
Yes.
Yeah. You said that after like the first or second episode. You picked up on that.
Yeah.
Which was interesting because he meets with the clerk for coffee. That's like part of
They're
his
friends,
routine.
yeah.
Everyday loop.
And you were right that we were going to see what Alan's perspective was in the next episode, which was also a great call. You were like, maybe we'll see it through his sides.
You know, what can I
Did you
say?
look ahead?
I did not.
But what I thought was interesting was if you notice in his story, he breaks up with his girlfriend he was going to propose to, and then he goes home, plays video game, and drinks a lot. I wonder if the first time that it was happening to Nadia was the first time it was happening to him, so he got dumped and went out and just got really hammered, and they
having a
ran
rough
into
night.
each other. So the next day when she goes back and said, what happened with your friend? He was like, what are you talking about? So Alan must have like reset his routine. So that never actually happened. He never went out and was trashed at the convenience store.
Right.
Because when the very first thing he says 10
Yeah.
when he wakes up.
Which I didn't realize that he was saying how many times it had happened until like halfway through the
Oh,
episode.
I didn't even pick up on that.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
He finishes brushing his teeth and he says 10.
I thought it was interesting, kind of along those lines, whether or not well, two things. That they're affecting other people, because they started to hint at that.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're linked, like, they were like, are we dying at the same time? Or like, those pieces of it are pretty crazy. And I'm wondering, like, 'cause you were just saying, like, he got reset and he doesn't remember that they bumped into each other, but maybe.
Oh, I meant the clerk.
I know, but
Yeah.
like, it's the same thing as her, like, dying, taking a toll on the aunt or whatever that woman is. You know what I'm talking about? And it's like, I don't know. It's just interesting to see how they're like, if they are affecting people over and over again, even though, so like the plants wilting or like the fish being gone, like, are they actually leaving a path even though they're getting reset?
So I was confused about the whole part where she was like, I'm taking a toll on, I think her name is Ruth.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Nice.
Yes. How did she know that she was affected even when it reset? Like, that's what she was getting at, right? Like, even though I'm coming back,
Well,
she noticed.
didn't they say at one point, do you think they keep going on? Like everyone else keeps living, like they die, but then everyone else keeps living. They're not like resetting like them. So if she's dying or the gas explosion, she's killing Ruth, or she gets shot and now Ruth has to live with that. If
I
they're
don't think
gonna
it's as on the nose as that.
No?
I don't think it's like there, because she'd see Ruth the next day and be like, "Oh my God, you're alive! I saw you die in a like," you know what I mean? Like, there's no reaction from the people.
But is it maybe there's like kind of like multiple
realities or
versions?
Oh, sure.
that's
there's
what, because they
something
said something at one of the parties like, what if they keep going? What if they keep going
Oh,
living?
yeah, in different
Yeah.
That's true.
realities.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you meant in the same like.
Oh, no.
Because they would definitely react, and that would make sense. But
So like in one version of this world, Ruth died in the
string theory.
Yeah.
We also saw her play with the Russian doll set.
Yes.
That was cool. but I was like, what does it all mean? Like, where are they gonna like give us a hint through this? I couldn't pick up on anything. Did you guys gather?
I think it was kind of Easter eggy, really. It was like, hey, look, Russian dolls.
Yeah,
Like,
I guess.
they might go back to it.
But again,
of
we
course.
said this last time we were talking about it. Like, it's the name of the show.
Mm.
What is the significance? What is this Russian doll effect that they're attributing like the name to? And then like we saw a set of Russian dolls, and it's like, what is it? The different versions of the same thing. It's getting bigger. It's getting smaller.
Or one thing, doing one thing affects something else,
Yeah. Do you have to go back and like fix this one thing, then fix that next thing,
Yeah.
then fix this next thing, and then fix all of it, and you can crack the puzzle. You know what I mean? Like, what do we? Actually, we should watch that scene again at some point and like see if it has any significance on like a foreshadow or because I don't really remember what she was talking about or doing as she was like. I remembered it after. I was like, did that Russian doll thing mean anything? But I think if we watch it again, we might be able to be like, oh, they were just talking about how, whatever. I don't know. There might be a clue there, or it could have just, like you said, been like, oh, this is Russian doll. Like, we're going to show it.
I think that's what she's doing right when she gets shot. When it ends and Ruth shoots her.
Well, she was getting the book.
But I think that's when she stops because it's on top of the bookshelf. And she, like, notices it.
Well, wasn't it
starts
behind
taking
the,
it apart.
remember she said she had to search for it behind in the cabinet? And then she, like, went right into the cabinet to get it. And that's when she got shot. Or maybe I'm remembering it wrong.
I think it might have been on top of, like, where the book was, though.
Yeah, maybe.
And then she got shot.
Yeah, that was intense. I didn't see that one coming. And
Also,
it was she was, like, dying, and Ruth was, like, over her. And I was like, geez, that's a lot
Right.
of
I
emotion
think
there.
the significance of that is normally they just die and they wake up in the bathroom, like the gas explosion, all that. Isn't that when she started saying, what if I'm affecting Ruth, because she saw what it was like with her dying?
Yeah.
And that's where I started thinking, like, maybe when they said, do they keep living? And now they're really worried. Like, every time they die, there's that universe that people have to live in without them.
Right.
And that's why she was worried about meeting her ex's daughter. Because she was like, what if, like, I meet her and we, like, have a bond and then I die?
And then there's
And now there's
world.
going to be a world where she lost me.
Had to deal with that.
Something like that, yeah. Also, I don't know if this is relevant, but I feel like it's a very strange coincidence that they both reset in their bathrooms.
That is strange. You wrote that down. Like,
Yeah.
like you notice it, but then you're like, oh my God, yeah.
Is that a thing? Right in front of the mirror.
Mirror, yeah. Self-reflection. No, I think
Maybe it's more about the mirror than the bathroom.
maybe it's both though.
Yeah.
It's alone time, reflection, time to reflect on who you are as a person. I don't know. Reflecting on life.
Yeah.
I like that. That's nice. Good pickup there.
Well, the big one we've talked about has been the fish.
Yes.
He
Yes, we
made a
keep
point to
joking
feed it, but then he threw away the engagement ring, which wasn't there anymore, but neither was the fish.
So yeah, and then there's also still the flowers wilting. So when you guys were just talking about the different like outcomes playing out in like a separate universe or whatever, a separate timeline, I'm wondering if the deaths are actually affecting people in this timeline. Like the resets are kind of like I almost thought, I kind of remember it almost being hinted at that like Ruth wasn't herself one day or whatever, or like I'm wondering if the people that they're around are getting affected in this timeline, just like the plants wilting or the fish disappearing. You know what I mean? Like I think they might be affecting things
Or like,
now.
is it like, so Ruth is still aging like she would be?
Yeah.
Or things like that?
No, like she's just like, Ruth is like more depressed this time that she sees her instead of the first time that she sees her. You know what I mean? Or like, yeah, like residual pieces of how they're interacting are actually carrying over on the resets. Not enough to be like, oh my God, you died yesterday, you're back, but enough to be like, I feel kind of off.
Yeah.
And hey, good to see you. You know what I mean? Like
Deja vu.
And then like the fish goes, or the plants are wilting because they're more susceptible to these. You know what I mean?
And the fruit in Ruth's house is rotten in the last
Yeah.
times you see her.
Good pickup. See, yeah, like I'm thinking there's like another layer there. I don't know where it's affecting them, but not in like another timeline.
Right.
In this timeline, it's starting to affect people, which I don't know where.
Which
where
would make
that-
more sense. They're not really talking like a multiverse here, so
Right.
like
That's what I thought you were getting at, but yeah.
yeah.
So the fact that like Ruth's now died as well, or people are witnessing her dying, or like I don't know.
Well, it was interesting because at one point in episode 4, and that's the episode where we see at the end that the fish is gone, Alan says he's with Nadia, and I think they're at the party, and he says, kill one so the other will survive. And I didn't know if that, because then like fish didn't show up, and it's like, okay, something's tied in. I couldn't connect it, because like, was he talking about like kill Nadia and he'll continue on? Or like, I don't know.
Oh, that's right.
He said it to her at one point because they were talking about
Who said it?
Alan.
Said it to Nadia?
Mm-hmm.
Kill what?
Kill one so the other will survive.
When did he say what?
It was just in the middle of the episode, and I was like, wait, that's...
What was he talking about in the episode?
Was it like his theories on what's happening?
Yeah, something like that. It was just in the middle of it, and the line stood out to me because it was just like after the neighbor said he would have killed that fish, there was all this talk that like, I don't know if it has anything to do with the fish at all, but it all just seemed like to line up.
Yeah.
But the fish disappeared. It wasn't like floating on the bottom or the top
Right,
of the
right, right.
tank.
So the cats disappeared, the fish disappeared, and the ring has disappeared. Right? And why would those things disappear?
I don't know.
Maybe it's like getting to peace with something, like that she lost her cat. You know what I mean? Or that he can't change something, and then the fish go. I don't know.
It's interesting though, because like the homeless guy was just not in it again. Where you thought like she was starting to go down that path with him, and then he just wasn't there. Not, you know.
Yeah.
So, but you know that he
That might
died.
have just been an example of what, like, her whole thing has been trying to figure it out. Well, both
Yeah.
theirs, and she thought maybe being like
Good to him.
good to someone would.
Right.
So that might have just been like a little anecdotal piece, but
Which turns
Or
into a
maybe.
huge part of the 5th episode.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out, is it we have to be good to these people we've wronged? Like meeting with the ex's daughter and then trying to figure out the guy that cheated on her.
yeah. Well, so I have a feeling it might be a combination of that and like acceptance. My acceptance thing is like he realized that she cheated on him, right? And like I genuinely think he doesn't want to marry her anymore, and that's why the ring goes away. Because it took him that long to figure out that there was cheating,
Like 15 tries.
and then he was mad at the guy, and then like the guy keeps dropping like lines on him like you did, like you weren't right for her,
Yeah.
or this wouldn't have happened. And he like enough lines and things. He has enough interactions to. He almost is like at a point of accepting that, and then like the ring goes away, and it's like if you keep accepting that you're having these issues with things, and then you work on it, accept it, and like move on, then maybe like that's what. And then I was saying maybe like there's bigger to fix your life. That's one of my theories, but
Kind of interesting too that I just like realized when you said that is they're both people, Nadia and Alan are both people who are like accused of self-sabotaging, and like everyone else throws around to them like you have mental issues, like you need to fix yourself. Like they're
Yeah.
both those people that everyone is like
yeah.
pushing them away because of that.
Right.
So maybe connection there.
Yeah.
There's a connection somewhere in this show.
Interesting.
But with all this like deep meaning and what does this mean and what is that, there's still so many funny lines.
Oh my
Oh yeah.
Like they walk in, gas explosion again. Like
And she has the little sign that's like, "Don't use this room."
Yeah.
It's like a heart.
yeah.
And she's like getting frustrated with calling in like the gas leak.
Yeah.
She's just every day, forever.
When she like was in front of the party asking about being a bad person, she had a line that was just like I laughed out loud by myself watching it. Also, I noticed one of the executive producers is Amy Poehler. I didn't notice that before. I think like after episode 5 I saw it for the first time.
I didn't know that at all.
So she hasn't been in a lot of stuff, but she just puts her name on, she seems to know good stuff when she sees it.
Yeah. I love the whole jewelry store part too, where she's like, when you can't remember people's faces, I have that for names.
Yeah.
It goes on and on.
Yeah, and the woman like knew what it was instantly.
She's like, you look like Derek. Like he looked like Derek Jeter, but like didn't work out as much. And she's like, yeah.
She's like, wait, you want me to tell you your boyfriend's name?
And they get through the whole
Yes.
thing, and then finally at the end, she's like, I think you're lying. She got that far.
That was funny. Oh man.
So then we have 3 more episodes.
Oh, so it is only 8.
I think it's 8, yeah.
I think we just.
Finish it.
Yeah, you just want to. You have no self-control.
I know. I had to put the brakes on. It's like, oh, I'm gonna keep. No, I can't. We have to. Then it would have been so confusing to talk about
Yeah, if you were ahead,
if I was ahead.
you'd be making points. But what about when this happened? Yeah.
Oh, no,
So-
it would have been horrible.
You have to
I
pretend
wouldn't
like
do that to you
didn't
guys.
skip ahead.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, I was.
Quick side note: I read a fact that like some stupid amount, like 80%, or maybe not that much, but I forget what the number was. But there's a percentage of people that like show cheat and say they don't. So like you and your significant other like say like, all right, we're gonna watch this together, but then like so many times people just like go ahead and watch like one episode and then say like, no, I didn't watch it. And then I also read this thing where this daughter wrote that her mom and dad were watching a show and they both watched the next episode and didn't tell. They were like, don't tell your mother. And then he was like, don't tell your father. And then later on that night, they both sat down and watched the episode that they had both seen.
Oh my god. When I was younger, I used to like, because my brother used to be the type of person where he's like, if you've already seen it, I don't want to watch it again. Like, you've already seen it. I'll watch it by myself.
Oh, yeah.
So I would like watch a funny episode of a show and be like, oh, Stevie's gonna love this. But I'd always be like, I haven't seen it, but like, it looks funny. Want to watch this? And then we'd get through it, and I'd be like, this part's really funny. Stop talking. He's like, how do you know it's funny? And I'm like, I'm just assuming the character seems funny. He's like, I was like 7, so I wasn't good at laughing.
Oh, God. These are the things that come along with the age of Stream It. Closing thoughts. Where do we leave off? Where does the
air conditioner fell on him
oh yeah.
because they said, I think we're dying at the same time.
Then
Oh, I forgot.
that was a really sharp recall right there.
Yeah.
But you
On
watched
both
it.
of
I watched
this
it
morning?
yesterday.
Oh.
It hits both of them?
Yeah. They're staying. She
Is
was
that
like,
the first time they've died together?
yes. No, the elevator.
Oh yeah, the other.
And then they said, she said something, and he was like, no, I think we're dying together. Or we're dying at the same time. Because they were coming in saying, gas explosion again.
Yeah.
And that's when she put the note on for Ruth. But he walks up. She's ringing his doorbell. He walks up, and she said, so you made it through the night? And then he was like, I think we're dying at the same time. And the thing fell on her.
That's right.
Fell on him.
I don't
Yeah.
know what's coming next.
Cliffhanger. Let's see.
That's why you watch it right before. Like the day before we go on air.
So now we can talk about our shows that we weren't expecting to love.
Want me to kick it off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a strange one that I don't know that either of you have seen. Amazon Prime original. It's called Red Oaks. Have I told you guys about this?
No.
Well, so I feel like Amazon Prime was a little bit slow to the game with some of their bigger things, and then like Maisel came out, and now they've had a bunch of good like bigger shows that have been popular. But one that's been on there for a little bit was this random show called Red Oaks. It's about a country club, or it's about this kid who works at a country club. He's a tennis pro, and he's just like right out of high school. It's just like a coming of age story. The friends, the trying to date, to figure out what you're going to do with your, after high school. It's college. It's and it's just it's just a funny scenario to put someone in, like an office or a rec department or whatever. But this is like at a country club, and it's interesting the lifestyle and the culture that comes along with that. And they make a ton of jokes, and he like videos weddings on the side that like happen at the country club. But so I went into it, I was just like, oh, this is some like random show. Wasn't expecting it. And then just well written, well acted, interesting premise, and I ended up loving it. So,
I've never even heard of it.
Yeah. It's a weird one, but it's not super heavy, but it's got like it's just a good story, and a good like coming of age, like figure it out show. So I don't know, I wasn't expecting much, just like trying something, and then I ended up watching like I think it's got like 2 or 3 seasons, and like binging it because I was like, this is great, I want to know more. So if anyone hasn't seen it, it's worth a watch.
Is there any like big names in it?
Not really. But yeah, not really. But it's not quite like, it's not like an Office or like Good Place. It's more of a like a drama, but it's like a dramedy, I guess. But pretty good.
Is it more than one season?
I think it's 2 or 3.
Oh.
It kind of reminds me of like have you seen Zombieland?
Yes.
Obviously without the zombie piece, but like I don't know, I guess that's a super weird.
Do they like break the fourth wall?
No, do they do that in Zombieland?
Yeah.
I haven't seen Zombieland in a while. That was a weird.
Where were you going? You cut off your point. I'd like you to drive this home.
Just that coming of age, like kind of funny, but it's still like a normal story. I don't know, whatever. There's a million like that, I would say, but I don't know why Zombieland popped into my head. But
Yeah, interesting.
My interest.
Yeah.
You're gonna go watch it and be like, "Wow, this is nothing like Zombieland."
Where are the zombies?
I don't know.
Okay.
Good show though. Check it out if you.
Sounds very
get
Red
it.
Oaks.
Red Oaks.
Is that the name of the country club?
Yes.
nice.
Yes. And the show starts with like just like this really pretty montage of like sprinklers and like the flag, and it's funny. Oh, also White Hot American Summer.
White Hot American Summer.
But not like silly stupid like that, but it's like funny, just like
Are you saying
that
you
vibe.
like that show or another comparison?
another odd comparison.
Okay.
But like how it's just like a kids away at summer camp working type of like, here's what happened during this year at summer camp type thing, except this year at the club.
Also a great show.
That is a good show.
So less funny Caddyshack.
Yeah.
Mine is The Newsroom.
Oh, I love The Newsroom.
So
Have you seen that?
No.
Oh, you need to.
Now it's an HBO show, which are generally good, but going in, I kind of watched right from the beginning. But like the first scene is like really like pull you in, like. But then I was like, oh man, all they do is argue over each other. Like 2 or 3 episodes of just like constantly arguing on top of each other. And I was like, I don't know if I can deal with this.
Really?
Yeah, they were just so much talking, too much. And I was talking to my brother about it. And I was like, do you watch this? And it's like, I'm having so much trouble like getting through it. And he said, it's because Aaron Sorkin types without a space bar. And I was like, yes, that's it. I was like, that's exactly it. But then that calms down. They still have like their fights and like production meetings and stuff like that. But when I think it was the very first episode, their Jim is like, hey, there's the thing flashing in yellow here. There's like some oil spill that's happening. Why no one's reacting? And someone was like, we only react if it's red. And then the date pops up. You have no idea when the show is taking place. The date pops up. It was the day of the BP oil spill.
Right.
So you're like, oh, they're doing like recent history.
Yeah.
All actual things that happened. And then like that happened in the first episode. So that like got me to the second one. And then by the third one, you're just like hooked. Yeah. And it is just like the acting's incredible. The writing is great because it's Aaron Sorkin.
I like the writing for that venue. Like they're in a newsroom. It's supposed to be like, we gotta
right,
crazy.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I like how, I know that it's a lot, but I feel like it adds to that like hustle of the newsroom and the show. Like, you know what I mean?
It was just for me.
It's a lot.
Everyone was doing it.
Yeah.
It wasn't like.
It's like in Gilmore Girls when they talk like super fast and you're like, how did they have that fast of a conversation?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that one.
Jeff Daniels and his love interest, the executive producer there.
Yeah, she's good.
I understand, like, they bicker, but then, like, the senior producer she brings in, he does it, and then it's like, Jim does it, and I was like, okay, can we just have one person that doesn't do this, that doesn't argue like this? Like,
I just feel like if you brought that person in, they'd, like...
But you could write it like...
Someone's just like, I don't know.
No, you could write it like that. They can say like, can I finish? You know, something like, you know, it was just so much and they dive into it like almost immediately. So, but that's what Aaron Sorkin's like watch The Social Network. I've never seen West Wing, but I think that's just like how his brain and fingers communicate. Like, so, but the show turned out to be absolutely incredible. I think Jeff Daniels won Emmys. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was good.
Is it a recent show?
Yeah. It was like
2012?
3 seasons. They had like something like that. I think the oil spill was in 2010 or 11. So it was like, you know, they do that. They do what it was like covering when Osama bin Laden was killed. You know, it builds up like that.
Oh, that's really
It's like things that we lived through and saw get covered, but they do it in their...
Like as breaking news.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
It's really good.
Yeah.
It's on HBO.
Mm-hmm.
It's excellent.
I have to watch that.
Yeah.
That's a better one than mine. Because I didn't, like, I heard that show was good, and then I watched it, and I was like, this was awesome. The like, famous speech thing from
the very
college.
first scene, yeah.
So I had a look of shock when you said Gilmore Girls because that was my show. It was really weird.
That was before your time, though, like...
It was.
Because I feel like that was a middle school, high school show when I was in middle school and high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my sister watched it all the time, like
That makes
constantly, to like an annoying point where like when I was a kid, I was like, are you serious? Because she would like, she had already seen all of it, but would rewatch it all the time. And I was like, this show seems like it sucks. Every time I walk in, it's them at dinner with their grandparents. And like, is this literally the whole plot of the show? So I hated it when I was a kid just because I was like, it's always on. And then when I went to college, my roommate was obsessed with it and was like, I've seen that show like 5 times too. How have you not seen it? And I was like, what is it with this show? And then, because I was like, it's about a mom and a daughter. Like, okay, great. How was there 7 seasons? And then I went home for like winter vacation. My mom was like, let's watch it. Like, we'll watch it together. Let's just check it out. And after the first episode, I was like, put on the next one. This is good. And like, it's just one of those shows where like, it's just like a normal life about these people. But like, I think it's also just like the energy and like you said, like
the way they talk in that
the writing, like just the talking and like, it's just so impressive. And then like, Lauren Graham wrote like an autobiography, and it's literally called Talking as Fast as I Can, and half the book is just about like working on that show is so hard because like you do all the lines and they'd be like, no, make it a little quicker. Like
Yeah, do you know?
I know of it. That's it. I've never seen.
Yeah. It's like impressive because they have conversations just like double time. Like it's like so fast, but it makes it. I don't know. It's part of it. It's like unique.
Real,
it's cool.
yeah. Especially because it's like a mom and a daughter, so they'll be in the kitchen, and if they're like fighting about something or even just talking about like getting coffee, like the mom is talking and then like the daughter is talking too. Like they're just going over each other, but it's so perfect.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
And then it led to. This is like kind of the second show, but I'm just like Maisel, which is the same people who made it.
Oh, really?
I like resisted for a little bit, just because I didn't know what it was about, but I was like, oh, it's about the 50s. I don't really watch a show about the 50s, but my same roommate was like, no, it's the Gilmore Girls people, and it's like the same thing where like the energy of the show just like sucks you in.
Yeah,
they're just.
That's similar too. Yeah.
Whipping through the rooms in like one.
Oh, so they made Gilmore Girls and
the woman with the funny hat?
Yes, her and her husband wrote Gilmore Girls and
that
Maisel,
makes so much
so
sense.
that's why Midge is like very similar to like Lorelai Gilmore.
And the way she talks, to the mother and
and they're always cutting through each other.
Yeah. Cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, fun fact. So.
There's an app called IMDb. You should check it out.
Yeah, there's so much to check out.
Yeah, but you just like have a random thought and you're like, oh, who wrote this? Boom. You see other stuff they wrote. Oh, wow, look at that.
I guess I don't focus on the writing that much.
I just noted it's only like names pop up. Well, obviously every show has the credits, but like when I was just saying to you that I saw Rian Johnson wrote a Breaking Bad episode. Turns out he wrote or directed 3. And so I saw that and I was like, wait, it's spelt with an I. I wonder if it's the same one that wrote Star Wars. So I went and I checked, and 3 episodes of Breaking Bad, wrote Star Wars. It's just when that happens that I do it. Mm-hmm. Or if you're on Amazon on like a laptop, have you ever noticed it has the, and if you move the mouse, it has the like behind the scenes, like who's in the scene, general trivia. That's
cool.
always good.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty cool to see how that style will translate from thing to thing. Like that makes so much sense that Maisel is Gilmore Girls.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Also love your pick because Maisel, like I piggyback on that one because that was a show that I just had no idea about. It's like when you go to a movie, like someone's like, oh, I want to go see this movie, and you're like, sure, I have no idea. And then you go and you're like, that was awesome. I had no expectations going into that, and it was great. And that's what Maisel was. I just like, oh, this is a funny show we saw, and like loved it, you know. I love when that happens. You have no idea like what you're getting into, and then you watch something and it's just awesome.
Yeah.
It's a great feeling. Because when you're like, oh man, I can't wait for this to come out. I can't wait for this to come out. Then you watch it and you're like, oh, well, everyone said it was good, or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd prefer when I am surprised.
No one was arguing against you.
You like that too, then?
I guess another show that we don't have to like dive into was Ozark, because I mean Jason Bateman to me was in Arrested Development, and then those movies like Horrible Bosses, things like that.
Yeah.
So I didn't expect him, but he writes, directs, acts, and it's awesome. So that's just another one that I was looking at our list, and those two, Newsroom and Ozark, stuck out to me.
I was born into this world, and my first memories of it are pain. For my kind, there was one place we were never allowed to go. One place we were never allowed to see. Your world.
Who are you, Dolores?
You and I are a lot alike. They put you in a cage, decided what your life would be. They did the same thing to me.
Well, you've been watching me.
Not me, but someone. Something has.
Who is it that we're going after?
person who took your future.
Welcome to my world, Maeve.
What do you want from me then?
Dolores. I want you to track her down and kill her.
Welcome to the end of the game. Five of us against an entire world of them. It'll be enough.
I finally understand my purpose. I'm gonna save the world. The plan is starting. What happens if this doesn't work?
You do this the old-fashioned way.
The old-fashioned way?
I kill everyone. You're not the only predator here. The real gods are coming. And they're very angry.
Looks like Maeve brought a sword to a gunfight.
It did look that way, but it was sparking.
Maeve versus Dolores is gonna be.
Yeah, well, they pitted them against.
Yeah.
That was kind of like set up. I feel like in the second season a little bit, because they were kind of after different things, but it wasn't as obvious. Because I think isn't there a part where like Maeve was basically dying and they like left her in the garage of like the facilities, and Dolores like could have killed her but kind of lets her go.
So much happens in that show,
Yeah.
and at this point, it's like 2 years.
Yeah.
I need a real refresher before.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But it's interesting. You have it written down. Aaron Paul, is he a human?
Yeah.
It also seemed like kind of what she was getting at from the trailer was they put you in a cage. Like, is he like a service drone? Like he does work for them? Like he just does what he has to do. They force him to do it. And he's like, are you watching me? How do you know I'm not human or whatever? I don't know.
Yeah, because we don't know what they have in like the real world. We've only seen Westworld.
Yeah.
So
True.
In one of the earlier teasers, didn't it seem like there's a clip in there of like 40s Europe?
yeah,
That was weird.
so I don't
Did
know.
that have Maeve or?
Maeve?
Yeah.
Wonder if that's part of the park still.
Yeah, maybe
Could
she
be,
has
yeah.
To, like park hop for like if she's searching for something.
I almost feel like that's like gearing up to be a whole nother thing. Like Westworld was this place you'd go and like this is like like war against the machines. Like
Could be
Yeah.
a separate show.
yeah.
Well, just funny.
It's like Westworld was a prequel to like a robot attack show. Like
It's funny because they just put Westworld, then make the Roman numeral 3. It's not like season 3, and they did last time. They said Westworld 2, so it's like it's a continuation, but also like we're past the park now.
yeah.
But looks like everyone's coming back. They have
Yeah, Bernard is like on a farm.
yeah. The man in the black hat. Did he die? I can't tell if that's a human him or I can't remember if he died. I know they killed his
He was like left for
stepfather?
Oh yeah,
Or no, his
The-
father-in-law?
father-in-law,
Yeah.
and then I don't think he died. I think that he almost did, but I feel like I watched this a few months ago. I think it was something along the lines of like they were like, we don't want to give you. It would be too easy to like let
Right.
you die, so we're gonna take you instead.
Mm.
yeah.
They almost need like a Westworldpedia Have you seen like those fans, not fan sites,
There's,
but
like, Wookiee people
Yeah.
from Star Wars.
yeah. I'm sure there is.
It probably is.
Yeah, I almost want to rewatch that before this comes out.
There's a guy, I think his channel is called like Emergency Awesome, and he does it for like every show, but he makes really good recaps for like Westworld.
Oh.
For like every episode that comes out, he would like do like a, so here's what happened in that episode.
Oh yeah.
But I think he does like the season recaps too.
What a life.
Right? That's a lot.
You could do that.
I wish. Can I borrow the studio time
You have
or
the
space?
memory to remember what
Yeah.
happens and stuff. So yeah, that's March 15th.
March 15th. That's coming up.
Yeah.
2
2.5 weeks.
2 weeks from Sunday, huh? Wow. Wait. Yeah. There's 29. Yeah, there's 29 this February. 29 days.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
That's Saturday.
29th Saturday. Yeah, I'm trying to work out the calendar in my head.
Leap day.
Leap day.
The show that we watched for looking ahead last week, the one with like the It Kids, came out today.
I saw that on Twitter, yeah. I'm not okay with this. I think, right?
Yep.
Yes.
So that's out.
I
We'll probably start.
should tune in.
Did you already watch?
Yeah, I know the whole thing.
This morning.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll finish off Russian Doll for next time.
Sounds good.
Sounds
A lot
good.
to talk about. See you next time.